Support Story. Chapter 7 Rejected. It was the next day. Izuku and Kaminari went to school together as always. They entered the classroom and went to their seats. Izuku didn't want to start it but, "Good morning, Midoriya-kun," the girl next to him, greeted, and it made Izuku's heart thumping again. Izuku didn't make any eye contact. "Morning, Uraraka-san," he then placed his books on his table. "You were quite busy yesterday," she told him, still showing a smile. Izuku chuckled nervously. "Why yeah, sorry about that," he didn't even give one glance to her. "I was about to ask to something," she then tried to look at his face. Izuku and her made eye contact and it made the boy blushed. And he doesn't know why. What is it? Ochako chuckled after that. "I'll tell you later." Izuku nodded and after a few minutes, the teacher finally entered. The awkward situation Izuku is having right now with Ochako is very hard to handle for him. It was finally lunchtime and Izuku went over to Todoroki. He seems to be doing fine. "Hey, Todoroki, Midoriya," he replied. "Let's go." The two went inside the cafeteria and bought their lunch. After that, they saw Suyu and Momo in one of the tables. Izuku gazed at Todoroki, seeing him, rather nervous or frightened. "It's okay, just act normal like always," Izuku told him. Todoroki then exhaled and inhaled courage and went to her. "Hey, guys," Todoroki greeted the two girls and sat beside Momo as usual. Izuku sat next to the other girl. "Todoroki-kun," Momo called, worried, seeing the light marks on his cheeks. Todoroki just continued to smile. "Where's Iida-kun?" "He's still putting up some books for the teachers," answered Suyu taking a sip from her drink. Izuku then looked at the person going towards them. "Speaking of the devil, here he comes." "Good afternoon, everyone," Iida greeted them and sat down next to Izuku. As the four of them talked, Izuku slowly looked over to where Ochako was sitting. She seems to be sitting next to Bakugo as always, along with his group of friends. She appears to be having fun with that smile on her face and Izuku smiled in relief. He then furrowed his eyebrows and shrugged. "What am I thinking? Midoriya-chan," Suyu called him. "Everything all right?" Izuku looked over to Suyu and just nodded. "Yeah." He then went back to eating his lunch. It was usually Iida and Todoroki doing the talking. Momo was staying silent and Suyu and Izuku were just peacefully eating their lunch. About Momo, she seems to be having some thoughts in her head. Her face was a bit moody but she tried her best not to show it. Izuku can tell that it was about the arranged marriage she's going to having in the future. Izuku didn't want to interfere because he knows that Todoroki will be the one to do something. After a few minutes, Momo stood up and it made them all look at her. I need to go somewhere." She then left the spot. Todoroki clicked his tongue and looked down. "Damn it." He then immediately stood up as well and went after her. Promoted stories. You'll also like A Million Reasons. Iswocha fanfic. Under 70.4K988. Ochako Uraraka and Izuku Midoriya have always had feelings for each other, but they never wanted to admit it. They have always wanted to find opportunities to tell each. The support general course. Quirkless. Deck. 40.7K 1.3K. Izuku got into UA, just not the hero course. Taking both support and general classes, Izuku aims to graduate from UA after giving up on his hero dreams. Quirkless is. Devotion Rightwards Two-Headed Arrow Katsuki Bakugo X Reader. 1.6M 47.1K. YN as a new student at UA High. She moved away with her dad a few years ago after her mom disappeared. While she lived here, her two friends Izuku Midoriya and Katsuki. Something unforeseen. Completed. 13.9K 383. Izuku Midoriya is a young high schooler who oftentimes keeps to himself, and he enjoys this tranquil lifestyle. He enjoys comic books and keeps his grades up and is your. Get a hint, will you? 3.3K 32. Hey everyone. This is actually my first story, so I really apologize for any spelling, grammar mistakes. Completed. There will be bonus chapters, though. Related and not. Look at me. Bakugo X Reader. 330K 9.8K. You spent your childhood defending your best friend, Izuku, claiming that one day the two of you will be a pro hero duo, not caring that your friend is quirkless. While, you again. 121K 3.8K. Katsuki Bakugo did not believe in fate, but when Ochako Uraraka burst into the 1A classroom with big news, he was forced to reconsider. And oh, where Katsuki is 3E. The three left were just staring at the scene until the two left the cafeteria. Man, it must be difficult, Iida said, looking away from the door. Izuku nodded, worried. I hope they're okay. Todoroki caught up to Momo to grab her hand and made her turn around face to face with him. Yaoyaruzu, he said. Momo's eyes were full of sorrow and distress. Todoroki's heart felt like breaking right now at that spot. Seeing the sight of it, I don't know what to do, she told him with a sad tone. Todoroki smiled, but it wasn't a happy one. Don't worry, I'll fix it, Momo then said. My father wouldn't allow us to be together. He won't allow you to get in the way. It's hopeless. It's okay, I'll figure something out. I promise in my whole life I will have you back. Todoroki continued smiling, calming Momo, who was now beginning to tear up. Todoroki, she called, and he began to hug her closely. Please help me, she started to cry. Todoroki hushed her softly and caressed her hair. I will. What are you going to do? She asked him, still burying her face in his warm chest. Todoroki then smiled with a sharp sigh. I'll think of something, you'll see. Momo spoke. I really want to be with you. These words already gave Todoroki high hopes and felt his heart began to get warm. Me too, he replied. The two continued to hug, until Todoroki already calmed her down. After a few minutes, they let go. Momo suddenly asked him a question out of the blue. Hey, Todoroki, she chuckled softly through her breath as she smiles. Do you love me? Todoroki widened his eyes and blushed. It was sure too sudden, but he immediately replied. What kind of question is that? Momo then showed him a confused face. What? He then placed his forehead on hers and it made Momo surprised, making her face redden. The warm contact between them has sent their hearts beating like crazy. Isn't it obvious? Momo's heart was beating faster and faster. Her mouth was trembling and her face getting hotter. The eye contact they were making is getting intense and she didn't know what to say next. Todoroki noticed her nervousness and he then asked, How about you? Do you love me? Momo then closed her eyes slowly and gave a smile. What do you think? Todoroki pouted and whined softly. I don't know. He then chuckled. Momo did the same and held both of his hands and went closer to him and made Todoroki's face redden more than her now. Isn't it obvious? Todoroki snorted a bit and started to cover his mouth, letting go of their contact, and it made Momo confused. He began to laugh out of nowhere. What's wrong? Momo asked him, worried. Todoroki looked at her. You're so cute. Momo's heart fluttered and she started to blush once more. I'm not. He then pinched both of her cheeks and she started whining in pain. Ow, 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 that hurts. So cute, so cute, so cute. He continuously said those as if he's talking to a baby. Hey, stop it, she said seriously, and he let her go. You alright now? He asked her. Momo then smiled and held his hand softly as she went close to him to lay her head on his shoulder. He looked deeply in his eyes and blushed crimson. Never better. Todoroki finally calmed the two of them down and their hearts continued to beat normally. They were happy now. Izuku took the books from his locker and closed it after that. He then made his way to the exit of the school. He saw Kaminari outside, waiting for him. Midoriya-kun, hearing those words of his name from her warms his heart every time. He slowly removed the smile on his face and turned around to face her. Yes, Uraraka-san, Ochako then asked the boy, the moment she reached him. Do you wanna study together now? At home, Izuku's pupils shrank with his cheeks tinge in heat, but in an instant, his eyes began to appear gloomy. He had to reject her offer immediately. He has to, but luckily he was busy for today, for real, so he wouldn't consider himself lying to her. Sorry, Uraraka-san. Kaminari told me to go to this repair shop to help him with something that needs to be fixed or something. His heart was heavy and full of regret. He honestly wants to study with her right now. Ochako didn't frown or anything but just continued smiling. I understand, but next time, okay. Alright, bye, Midoriya-kun. Izuku waved back, watching her figure disappear from afar. After that, he turned away and made his way out. I'm such an idiot. I'm such an idiot. I'm such an idiot, he said to himself continuously and stopped when he reached to Kaminari. What took you so long, man? Kaminari asked him as they both departed. Sorry, I forgot to collect my stuffs, he answered him. Kaminari nodded in return. Anyways, what are we going to do? Kaminari then rested his hands behind his head. Jiro asked me to accompany her in this repair shop she's going. You. He said in disbelief. Kaminari nodded again. But, why bring me along? Kaminari chuckled. Sorry, I needed someone as well if the atmosphere gets too awkward between me and Jiro. Izuku clicked his tongue in annoyance. Are you kidding me? He chuckled in return. Kaminari then asked, Anyway, how's you and Uraraka so far? Things getting interesting. Izuku then jolted in surprise and started to sweat. What do you mean? I'm just asking if you guys are okay. Izuku then sighed in relief. Yeah, I guess so. Kaminari wasn't buying it. Instead of pushing him, he just let it be. He knows that something is fishy happening right now, but he's going to find the right time to be straightforward about it. This is the place, I think. Kaminari pointed at a store next to them. It seemed rather new and the sign says, repair store, to be precise. He then spotted Jiro inside, in front of the counter. Yo, Jiro, Kaminari called her, as he entered the store along with Izuku. Jiro just gave a lazy wave and looked back at something in front of the counter. When Kaminari stood beside her and looked over to the direction where Jiro was looking, it was her phone, cracked. He furrowed his brows with confusion. What happened? Jiro gave a sharp sigh as if she's already annoyed with his existence. An accident happened, she then glared. An accident where someone picked me up and dropped my phone. Kaminari was confused at first but then realized his mistake. Wait, was it when I saved you last time? You didn't know. You didn't even realize the crack when you handed it over to me, she said. Kaminari then told her. I didn't. But why are you raising your voice at me? Oh, you're the one to talk. You didn't even bother fixing it. Hey, Aren't you forgetting that I saved your life at that time? Saved my life. When you broke my phone. Kaminari and Jiro looked at each other with dangerous, glaring eyes, and Izuku was just standing behind him, not getting anything at all. I'm just gonna wait for you outside, he told Kaminari and departed the place quickly. Kaminari clicked his tongue. Gosh, you're not even grateful for what I've done to you. If it wasn't for me, you would have been captured by now. Jiro kept silent for a while and then spoke. That's why you need to save me. Kaminari gave a question look and saw her, looking down. What do you mean? Jiro avoided the eye contact and looked further away from him. If anything bad happens to me, please save me again. Kaminari widened his eyes, surprised. Not only of her soft voice but the words she said. Wait, is that the reason why you called me here? Jiro turned around immediately and punched his arm. It's not like that, idiot. Ow. Kaminari squinted at the sting she made but smiled sweetly after that. Don't worry, if there's trouble, I'm always here. The grin in his voice along with his words together sent Jiro's heart racing all of a sudden. She froze in her position. Jiro's mouth squirmed and a slight pink blush on her cheeks. Stop it. What? I'm telling the truth. I don't get you at all. She showed an annoyed look on her burning face. Shut up. He widened his eyes with a small pout. He then snorted and laughed a bit. Hey, what are you laughing at? Kaminari then calmed down after a few laughs. Nothing, nothing. Jiro pouted and looked away and watched the person repairing her phone. Really, this girl is so confusing. But I understand her very well even though she's trying hard to hide it, Midoriya. Kaminari called Izuku, who was waiting outside, looking at his phone. Kaminari, Jiro-san, he stood up, watching them going towards him. Kaminari grinned and did a thumbs up at him. We managed to get her phone all fixed up. Be quiet, she said. It's none of your business. The three then started walking back home. You said that you called me here just to protect you, he teased her with a smirk forming in his lips. Jiro then blushed crimson and her mouth squirmed once again. I didn't say that. Kaminari looked over to her with a shocked face. What do you mean? Jiro covered her burning face and then looked away from him. She sighed and whispered, Thank you. What did you say? He asked, thinking she said something horrible. It's nothing. She asked, looked back at him and pouted her mouth. Gosh, everything you say is so offensive. He then sticked his tongue out. Such a meanie. Stop acting so childish, ugly. The two kept arguing and arguing, leaving Izuku behind. He was walking at the back of them, staring at his phone for a while. He was staring at certain message sent from the brunette. Countless thoughts are swimming around his head making him dizzy. As the message he read was, Midoriya-kun, you wanna come over to my place tonight? Laughing face, my parents wants to know you too. He didn't want to be rude or anything. He kept staring at this message since before Kaminari and Jiro finished. His eyebrows stopped furrowing and he finally started typing his reply. After typing, he read it once again and sent it. Sorry, I can't come tonight, Uraraka-san. Maybe next time. Izuku sighed as he put phone in his pocket. Am I doing the right thing? Midoriya, you're too slow. He heard Kaminari called from afar. Oh, sorry. He then went to him, speeding his pace. After catching up to him, Kaminari then asked, Man, are you okay? And why were you staring at your phone for a long time? The green-haired then laughed nervously. It's nothing. I was just scrolling in social media. Kaminari pouted with his one eyebrow raising up. Ah, really? Okay then. Izuku then slowly looked away and gazed down on this ground, feeling slightly dejected. Kaminari kept staring at him and thought, seriously, there is something wrong here. And on the other hand, she heard her phone vibrated next to her as she was waiting for his message. Ochako smiled and quickly took her phone and read Izuku's reply. But that reply didn't turn out that great for the brunette. There appeared a slight frown on her face in disappointment. She looked over to the dining table and saw the cake, cookies, cupcakes and other foods that Ochako worked hard to prepare all afternoon for tonight, but it was all for nothing. It was meant to be for Izuku for helping her in her test, and this was to show her appreciation of what he's done for her. What time will he arrive, Ochako? The food is getting cold, asked her mother, looking at her daughter looking down with a frown. She felt a bit worried but then saw her looked up quickly with a grin on her face. It was obvious that it was a forceful one. Ah, sorry, Mom. Guess he can't make it tonight. Her mother then showed a sad look. What, then how about all this food you and I made? I told you, you should message him first. Ochako bowed and bowed, apologizing to her mother. Sorry, Mom. Her mother pouted and smiled afterwards. It's fine, at least your father has something to eat later. I bet his craving for your cooking. Ochako then chuckled a bit. I guess so. As her mother turned around, Ochako's bright look started to fade away slowly. Why am I feeling so sad over this? Dash dot. Harrow. Yay, chapter 7 is done. Anyways, so far, I think I can finish this book as early as I thought. Usually, I update super slow, but now maybe I could finish it before the month February, that's all. And also, thank you so much for all your support. I really love reading your comments and seeing some of you voted for me. I am deeply touched even though this book isn't so great unlike the good ones. I really appreciate you guys and I love you so much. This book suddenly had so maybe reads every day and it's something I would never expect to happen. Without you guys, I wouldn't feel this happy. Heart, y'all are amazing, really. See you in the next chapter. Where stories live. Discover now.